News Central now at this hour begins in north-central Nigeria with security experts and matters. The Benue State Police Command has announced the release of 20 medical and dental students from the University of Maiduguri and the University of Jos who were abducted in the Otukpo area on August 16. According to Catherine Anene, the police spokesperson, the students were rescued on Friday night. While the details of the operation will be disclosed later, it was confirmed that no ransom was paid. The students were en route to the annual convention of the Federation of Catholic Medical and Dental Students in Enugu when the incident occurred. Also, Muyiwa Adejobi, the force public relations officer, stated that the students were safely rescued from Ntunkon Forest on August 23rd. He emphasized that the rescue was carried out tactically by security agencies with the help of local communities and the Office of the National Security Advisor. Now joining us to have this conversation is Nkotara Ikpanibo, who's a security expert. You're welcome, Nkotara. Good to have you here on the show this afternoon. I'm hoping you can hear us. Hello, Nkotara. Can you hear us? Well, unfortunately, we'll try and establish... Oh, good. Good. I think we have you now, Nkotara. Good morning, or rather, good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Now, let's talk about this instance here with the medical students. Given the nature of the abduction and the involvement of security agencies, many are asking what the successful rescue of the medical and dental students reveal about the capabilities and also the coordination of Nigeria's security forces in countering these kidnap cases are.
Well, if it is true that no cover was paid and their rescue was as a result of a successful security operation, then it means that their efforts must be commended. It's a commendable feat for the Nigerian security agencies to be able to rescue successfully 20 students without any casualty, without any loss. That means that security operation was very, very successful and meant to be commended.
I'm wondering why you preceded your response with "if it was true." Are you presupposing that perhaps maybe in some of these cases ransoms are paid but we are not let know?
Well, that is why I started by saying if, because if you look at it generally or professionally from the perspective of an insider, it will be very difficult for security agencies to attack the base of kidnappers without casualties, without a fiasco, without a gun battle. And if there were gun battles, if they had to fight to rescue the medical students, then it will be on record that certain number of kidnappers were killed, injured, certain number were arrested, and the casualty usually is not going to be on one side, it's going to be on both sides. Some of the students too would have sustained injury in the process. So the story for me is too clean to assume that casualty ransom was not paid.
Well, that's a very realistic way to look at it. But what are the potential underlying reasons for the abduction itself of these students? How do the motives relate to broader security challenges in the region?
Well, it has always been the same problem of insecurity in the nation. It has nothing to do with the fact that they are medical students. The truth is that Nigerians are not safe. The kidnappers, the bandits, the criminals, they are gaining more infantry, they are becoming more courageous, and they seem to effortlessly succeed in perpetrating their crime without any form of resistance from the security agencies. So it's not peculiar to the medical students. It's something that all Nigerians are prone to.
So the challenge now is that if nobody was arrested, if no casualties were sustained on the other side, that there might be focus on these kinds of travels or these kinds of communities, like students traveling or even other communities as well. So how can Nigerian security agencies improve their strategies and tactics to prevent and also respond to future kidnapping incidents of the sort?
Okay, that's what we have been advocating all this while. We should look at securing Nigeria as a comprehensive task that should be distributed to professionals that will be able to provide the solution. If you depend only on the government agencies, first of all, their number is grossly inadequate. Then their approach and strategy has not yielded the desired result. So there is need to bring in professionals within the country and outside the country for very serious brainstorming session that will lead to a strategy that will prevent these things from happening. For now, the government have not they've not shown the kind of seriousness that will put an end to these things.
So then the question is what the long-term implications of these kinds of incidents are on the safety and security of students. But better yet is even the question regarding the security architecture of the Nigerian system. Are roadblocks simply enough, or perhaps maybe state policing?
State policing is the way. State policing is the way. We have argued, or even on media several times, that the various state governors, they understand the terrain that they are operating in. I am in Plateau State. It is a mountainous state. So if you want to be able to provide security for Plateau citizens, Plateau State indigents, and the people in Plateau State, you need to focus on the aspect of security training that covers mountainous operations. So if that's a specialized training. It's not the general training for security operatives. So if the Plateau State government are allowed to control the state police within their state, they will focus on the training that will give them the desired result in their terrain. But if it is left as it is now, you post somebody from Kano to come and serve in Plateau, and he does not know anything about mountainous operations. The bandits and kidnappers will have a field day because the security agencies on ground are not trained to be able to combat criminal activities on the mountains. So state policing is the way out if you really want to put an end to these things that are happening in the country.
So in Qatar, what would be your advice to communities who are on the road or traveling, maybe institutions, even campuses, regarding these security implications that they might have to face if they have to move from one place to the other, or even are stationary?
Well, the various communities should take the bull by the horn, come up with their own security architecture with local, with their indigenous being involved actively. The various chiefs and world heads and the traditional rulers should mobilize the youths, the vigilantes, to coordinate security operations that will provide safety for them. And in events that they have been overpowered, they can liaise with the other security agencies for firepower. But to mount surveillance, I think the locals, in collaboration with their traditional leaders, could arrange a form of security network that can mount surveillance within their territory.
Well, Inko Padibo, thank you very much for joining us today on the news. We appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Now, reports just reaching us indicate that members of the proscribed Islam Movement of Nigeria, also known as Shiites, have resumed their protest. News Central correspondent in Nasarawa State reports that the protesters took over the Abuja-Keffi Expressway, which is the main entrance to the nation's capital. Some of the protesters said they are seeking for justice for some of their members who were allegedly killed in a rally by soldiers and policemen. And staying with security matters now, the National Youth Service Corps says it will issue discharge certificates to prospective Corps members who were kidnapped en route to Sokoto State for their mandatory service on August 17, 2023. The victims were ambushed by kidnappers in Zamfara State while traveling in an Akwa Ibom Transport Company bus. After months in captivity, they were released in batches, with the last Solomon Daniel Bassi freed on August 22, 2024. NYSC Director General Brigadier General Yashau Ahmed announced that due to their traumatic ordeal, the victims would not be mobilized for service. Ahmed confirmed no ransom was paid, crediting the rescue to the Department of State Security and Nigerian Army. The gang leader has been killed, but no arrests have been made yet. And let's also tell you that PIDOM, an anonymous whistleblower active on platforms such as X.com and 99% Oppressed, with real names Bristol Tamuno Obiefiri, has been arrested by officials from the National Cybercrime Center. The arrest happened on August 5, 2024 in his hotel room in River State. PIDOM, who operates under the alias PIDOM Nigeria, is accused of multiple offenses, including undermining government operations, unlawfully possessing classified documents, and committing cyber-related crimes. Following his arrest, social media erupted with campaigns demanding his release, led by hashtags like #PIDOM, #FreePIDOM, and #WhereIsPIDOM, after investigative journalist David Hundeyin reported his disappearance. Muyiwa Adejobi, the force public relations officer, stated that a comprehensive investigation would be conducted to ensure due diligence in addressing the allegations against PIDOM. Welcome back. Now to infrastructure. The Federal Ministry of Works has launched new policies aimed at transforming road constructions in Nigeria, addressing inefficiencies and improving the longevity of federal roads. These forums, unveiled by the Minister of Works, Senator David Umahi, are part of the Renewed Hope Road Infrastructure Revolution agenda under President Bola Tinubu's administration. Key aspects of the policies include the adoption of rigid pavements, standardizing pricing within each zone, reducing claims for price variations by contractors, and removing the consumer price index from contracts. The ministry is also focusing on enhanced supervision of projects, whistleblowing on substandard work, prioritizing projects along economic corridors, and ensuring one carriageway is completed before starting the second industrialization projects. The Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations says it is putting all measures in place to boost food production and address challenges of livestock feed shortages in the Northeast region. FAO livestock specialist Dr. Abdulrahman Mohammed disclosed this during a training organized on alternative feed fodder production in Maiduguri, the Benue State capital. News Central's Umaru Kirawa completes the story.
A recent report by the World Food Programme indicates that conflict in the Northeast region has led to about 4.4 million people facing food crisis. Most displaced people, who are livestock farmers, have lost their means of livelihood due to shortage of feed. But the Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations wants to scale up livestock farming. It has organized training for government and partner extension staff across the Northeast region on alternative feed fodder production.
With these techniques that are going to learn, it will ensure all year round availability of the feed. So you can now keep it's a form of storage and preservation.
Benue State government, under the leadership of Governor Zulum, has already given the go-ahead and the directive that there should be enough of pasture and there should be enough of an effective program on this animal feed and fodder.
The use of hydroponics, which is a new area, is also a very good source of alternative feed to our livestock.
According to FAO, pasture development is essential for livestock production as it significantly impacts animal health, productivity, and sustainability of farming system.
One of the factors that is militating against the full realization of the potential of livestock in Nigeria is the high cost of the feed. You know, this high cost of the feed, we said it's more than 70% of producing livestock. And we need high quality meats, high quality milk, high quality hide and skin, and we cannot achieve that without having feed that is readily available all year round, that is cost effective, and qualitative.
So we're able to make the hydroponic feeds that will serve as an alternative feed for our ruminants.
We have also been taught on how to prepare mineral blocks, which will serve as a sort of minerals and vitamins for our animals.
The training is expected to go a long way to stabilize livestock production and enhance food security in the region. In Maiduguri for News Central, Umaru Kirawa.
Now away from that, the Economic Community of West African States Food and Cultural Festival is set to take place in Nigeria with a focus on promoting food security, poverty alleviation and eliminating hunger across 16 ECOWAS countries. Ambassador Felix Ihonre, the festival's Director General, made this announcement during a preparatory inter-ministerial and stakeholders meeting in Abuja. The festival will be held in Uyo, Akwa Ibom State from October 6 to 11, 2024. Ihonre emphasized that the event would bring together key stakeholders in food security and broader security structures to address the challenges hindering agricultural productivity across West Africa. Nigeria, as the host country, is poised to gain significant economic benefits. Ihonre highlighted that Nigerians will have the opportunity to sell food, provide accommodations, and offer transportation services to participants, further boosting the local economy during the festival. Now, the governors of Bayelsa and Kogi states have been affirmed as duly elected governors of their states by Nigeria's Supreme Court. This was as the Apex Court delivered its ruling on the legal tussle bordering on the outcome of the 2023 off-cycle governorship elections in Bayelsa, Imo, and Kogi states. News Central's Emmanuel Bagudu reports.
Supporters of the Kogi State Governor, Usman Ododo, celebrating his victory at the nation's Apex Court. In a unanimous judgment, the Supreme Court panel of justices says that the allegation of substantially not complying with the Electoral Act was not proven by the Social Democratic Party's governorship candidate, Murtala Ajaka.
So we want to say to God be the glory. At least the bed has been finally laid to rest. And with this judgment now, I believe it's all over, so that the governor can concentrate, on his policies and the plan he has for the people of Kogi State. And I believe with this, all distractions are all over, and we pray that God will grant him good head to pilot the affairs of Kogi State, and then so that Kogi people can benefit from this good governance which he has in stock for them.
In the case of Bayelsa, the lead judgment delivered by Justice Garba Lawal held that the appeal by Temipre Silva and the APC was not only lacking merit, but a gross abuse of court processes.
Well, we are very happy that today again, Governor Odoyedire has won. You will recall that this has been a series of victories affirming his victory at the election. At the election tribunal, we won. At the Court of Appeal, we won. And today, too, at the Supreme Court, the final court, the highest court of the land, we have also won, affirming his victory at the polls.
And you can hear from the court that our preliminary objection to the fact that the appeal number 15 at the Court of Appeal was an abuse of court process. And so the appeal here is also dismissed, just like the Court of Appeal dismissed it because it was an abuse of court process, because the Constitution only entitled you to file one appeal, and so you cannot file two appeals.
The judgment brings an end to a year-long legal tussle by participants in the elections and makes a way for governance to begin in earnest. In Abuja for News Central, I am Emmanuel Bagudu.
In the same vein, the Supreme Court has also dismissed the appeal filed by the People's Democratic Party and its governorship candidate Samuel Anyanwu in Imo State governorship elections. The PDP had challenged the decision of the Court of Appeal, which affirmed the election of Hope Uzodinma as the governor of the state. However, in delivering its final judgment, the Apex Court held that the appeal lacked merit and affirmed the decision of the Court of Appeal.
Is that the Supreme Court delivered the judgment and held that the appeal lacks merit and is dismissed.
27 local governments were won in a manner that the elections have not been won in Imo State before, because of the effort the governor put into administration, where Imolites are happy with what he did, and they turned out en masse to vote for him. A lot of people did not understand the volume of what Imo people did in that election. But it spoke for us, it spoke for Imo, it spoke for the governor. It showed that a man who came into governance, and a lot of people were skeptics, were talking a lot of things. At the end of the day, the Imo people came out and gave him that mandate that was a landslide mandate, overwhelming victory.
Now, let's tell you that the governor of Kogi State has commended the judiciary for standing on the path of truth and justice despite intimidation in the run-down to delivering judgment on the state election poll dispute. This was as he was received by a mammoth crowd following his victory at the Apex Court in Abuja. Ododo also assured citizens of the state of his commitment to delivering good governance to the state and bringing the dividends of democracy to all residents of Kogi State.
Not just about our victory, but about how the judiciary head onto the point of law and ensure justice in this matter. You see, judiciary remains the last hope of a common man like myself. They were threatened, they were called names, all sorts of things, they were intimidated, but they have head onto the point of law by not allowing that to make them call what is black white.
Now, meanwhile, Murtala Yakubu Ajaka, the governorship candidate of the Social Democratic Party, SDP, the runner-up of the last Kogi governorship election, was attacked and chased at the premises of the Supreme Court. Ajaka was booed and attacked shortly after the Apex Court declared his arrival, or rather his rival, Governor Usman Ododo, the duly elected governor of the state. Police personnel on duty were forced to disperse the attackers with tear gas. Let's talk maritime now. The Maritime Workers Union of Nigeria and the Shipping Agencies Clearing and Forwarding Employees Association have signed an agreement on minimum standards of condition of service for workers in the shipping industry. The agreement signing ceremony held in Lagos was witnessed by the Minister of Marine and Blue Economy, Adegboyega Oyetola. News Central's maritime correspondent Neoma Obiaswalu has the details.
It's been a struggle of almost 3 decades to ensure good welfare and a dignified exit conditions for workers in the shipping sector. Was celebrated on Friday as a big win in the industry. This historic agreement, midwifed by the Nigerian Shippers Council, was witnessed by the Minister of Marine and Blue Economy, Adegboyega Oyetola, and other major stakeholders in Lagos. Oyetola, in his keynote address, commended the Maritime Workers Union of Nigeria for its maturity. The part of dialogue the union took, which didn't allow the shutdown of the ports, as he reiterated his commitment to the implementation of the agreement signed.
I want to encourage the workers to please put in the best. There must be increase in productivity. They must encourage the employers to be willing to dialogue with them, because they believe that if they do so, the increase in productivity will justify whatever additional costs they're going to have. And I want to employ the employers to please keep strictly to the conditions of this agreement.
Honorable Minister, today,
the Executive Secretary of the Nigerian Shippers Council, Pius Akuta, expressed his joy.
I believe that this will bring a lot of harmony in the sector. We don't want a sector that is volatile, a sector that is being disrupted because of industrial actions resulting from workers' agitations. So he gave us this mandate, which is in line with the mandate of Mr. President to diversify economy to this sector.
The President General of the Maritime Workers Union of Nigeria said that maritime workers must be treated with dignity and adequately remunerated, while applauding the support of the Minister and Executive Secretary.
I thank all the press for supporting us, for believing what we are doing, because we don't have any other country than this country. And there's no how we're going to be a strike monger. Because Maritime Workers of Nigeria, we don't believe in strike monger. We believe in dialogue. We believe in meeting our employers. Not that we cannot do firebrand, but we believe in understanding where we are coming from, so that all of us can be on the same page. And that is what the result we are seeing today.
The occasion was also an opportunity for Nigerian Shippers Council to showcase the impact of the e-regulatory process portal in ensuring operational efficiency, noting that it will aid in the confirmation of reasonableness of demurrage, freight rate, and charter party fees. As the industry awaits its full implementation, it is hoped that this will help save tens of billions that would have been repatriated by these shipping companies. In Lagos, for News Central, Norma Obiaswalo.
Analysts and financial market analysts in Nigeria have continued to review the prospects of the Nigerian federal government's $500 million domestic dollar bond, which opened for subscription on August 19, 2024. This bond, part of the government's financing initiatives, will carry a 9.75% per annum interest rate and is set to mature in 2029. In this report, News Central's business correspondent Perpetua Fasami-Peter spoke to financial analysts to find out what their thoughts were.
The Nigerian government debut domestic dollar bond, which was issued on August 19, will remain open until August 30, 2024. While notable market players and the International Monetary Fund have expressed their concerns about the fund, many analysts think it is a good buy for investors.
I think we have to bear in mind that Nigerians that have dollar in their domiciliary accounts will find this instrument beneficial in terms of return.
It will look like you're already cannibalizing if you have to buy dollars to invest in dollars. At the end of the day, you may just have, if everybody has purchased dollars to invest in this offer, it will have a nil effect.
Irrespective of the bright side, some concerns remain.
In the early days, my sense is that it is positive for the country, particularly if the funds are invested in infrastructure that will deliver economic value over the medium to long term. That is when, to my mind, it makes economic sense to the country.
So I would have loved a situation where if they are raising this debt, if it's not just for FX liquidity solution, it should be targeted towards what are the projects. We should have listed out the projects we want to use this money for.
While asserting that the amount was too insignificant to cause a major upset to the nation's debt profile, analysts further called on the government to seek more creative and sustainable ways to generate foreign exchange.
We need to do a complete revamp of that NMPC. That is when we'll be talking about us benefiting from being an oil-producing country. Otherwise, it will still be like the same story all over again.
We need to intensify efforts on growing our exports. So, have we been able to identify the top 5, top 6 items that we can or farm produce that we can export? Can we support those farm produce with the policies and also support them with cheaper funding?
Nigeria's inaugural domestic dollar bond offers a 9.75% annual yield and is set to mature in 2029 with a minimum subscription of $10,000 per investor. This investment qualifies for tax exemptions under the Company Income Tax Act and the Personal Income Tax Act for pension funds. Investors are required to make payments via electronic transfers and are prohibited from converting naira to dollars for this purchase. Furthermore, cash deposits will only be accepted if they have been held in a domiciliary account for at least 30 days before the offer date. In Lagos, for News Central, Perpetua Fasami-Peter.
And now health. The Nigeria Center for Disease Control say that it is increasing the number of laboratories to enhance its capabilities to detect cases of monkeypox to avoid the spreading in the country. This was made known during a joint briefing with the World Health Organization to update stakeholders in Nigeria on the current situation with monkeypox and efforts to curtail its spread. Our correspondent, Idong Joseph, reports.
Since the beginning of 2024, about 2,863 confirmed cases with 517 deaths caused by monkeypox have been reported across 13 African countries. This alarming increase is linked to a new strain of the virus which emerged in eastern Congo and has since been detected in Kenya, Rwanda, and Uganda. With about 19 states in Nigeria, including the Federal Capital Territory, recording at least one confirmed case, the Nigeria Center for Disease Control and the World Health Organization has convened a meeting to brief stakeholders about the situation in Nigeria.
Called in stakeholders, non-stakeholder partners, including ambassadors from various countries, EU, Africa, even Japan. We're briefing them on this mpox situation in Nigeria, our response activities in Nigeria, and the ability to brief on the African situation and what is happening in the world.
With the number of confirmed cases in the country now about 40, the Director General of the NCDC says that there are efforts to increase screening centers for quick detection of cases to avoid further spread.
All the cases we've seen so far were confirmed using genomic sequencing in 2 labs, NRL, National Reference Lab in Abuja here and in Lagos. But because of the spread, what is happening, we need to increase the number of laboratories we're going to use again to test. So we're including NIMA, we're including LUTH, we're including SG, that's the African Center for Genomics, I think in Otukpo, I think.
Though Nigeria is not on the list of high-risk countries, the World Health Organization has emphasized the need to remain vigilant.
With cases reported as far as Europe or Asia, and Nigeria is not it's not safe until this overall event is safe. So we'll continue to work with the government.
With the spread of monkeypox majorly through contacts with infected animals or humans, the agency has called for intensified efforts to sensitize citizens about the disease. In Abuja for News Central, I am Idong Joseph.
Former President and current leader of the opposition Umkhonto Party, Jacob Zuma, announced that he is leaving the African National Congress, claiming that it is no longer the ANC he once knew. Zuma's decision follows his expulsion from the party last month after leading the MK party into elections, a move that violated ANC rules. During a press conference in Johannesburg on Thursday, Zuma explained his departure, stating that the ANC was strayed, or rather has strayed, from its original principles and directions. Now, to discuss this, I am joined by Dr. Herman Berhane Ogamichael, a political analyst based at the Cape Peninsula University of Technology, Cape Town, South Africa. You're welcome, Dr. Herman.
Thanks for inviting me.
Good. So now, please do tell us the potential political implications of Jacob Zuma's departure from the ANC and his leadership of the Umkhonto Party for South Africa's political landscape as it is currently.
Actually, Zuma has been a juggernaut, an extraordinary, unavoidable force in the campaign against not the ANC per se, but it looks like some sort of revenge and retribution against Cyril Ramaphosa or his faction within the ANC. And the political implications that the ANC has been reduced from 57.5% votes in 2019 to 40% on May 29 election this year. So the whole political setup has changed because MKP has got back 15% votes, and most of these votes could have gone to the ANC. So the whole political setup now, from the majority in the parliament, now we see the government of national unity, which actually some members also within the ANC, the MK party, and other what they call progressive parties like the AFF, feel that the ANC has to some extent deviated from the principles that it commenced during the struggle. So the whole political setup, of course, has changed to that stage.
Could you please intimate us with the constitution of South Africa regarding party membership? Can you be in one party and yet lead another party like we've seen here in this case with Zuma and Umkhonto Sisizwe?
Not necessarily the constitution, but the ANC actually allows a dual membership, especially allows actually the South African Communist Party, if there are members that can belong to the ANC and SACP. Zuma himself was also a member of SACP as well as the ANC. But now the ANC feels that Zuma is bitter and he is some sort of a noise in the ANC, so they didn't want to allow him actually to belong to both parties, because they feel that he is actually sabotaging against the ANC. So that's why actually they decided to expel him.
Oh, okay then. So how significant is Zuma's claim that the ANC has deviated from the original principle, or is this just an excuse since after his expulsion?
We can see it in both ways, because the ANC now in a government of national unity, which includes the main opposition party, which the some of these progressive parties like the EFF and NKP actually consider DA as a white dominated, what they call it, white monopoly capitalist. So that is the politics that Zuma and NKP are actually trying to play to actually accuse that the ANC deviated from the main principles that it stood for many years.
Well, Dr. Ogba Michael, thank you very much for joining us here today on the news.
Thank you. Have a nice day.
In East Africa, the trial of 4 men accused of gang rape in a case that has shocked Tanzania has been temporarily halted on Friday, according to a defense lawyer. The alleged attack took place in Dodoma in May, but gained national attention after a former mayor shared details on X, formerly Twitter, on August 4, prompting widespread condemnation from human rights groups. The 4 men who were arrested on August 9 appeared in the Dodoma High Court earlier this week and pleaded not guilty to charges of gang rape and sodomy. Defense lawyer Mashak Ngambano, or rather Nganmando, I beg your pardon, explained that the judge paused the proceedings after receiving an application challenging the case's legality. And now business. The Nigerian aviation industry is facing significant challenges, but it also holds immense potential for growth and development. Recent events highlight the need for a new strategic approach to the sector, focusing on policy reforms, collaboration among stakeholders, and innovative strategies to enhance the economic viability of airports. Our News Central's correspondent Lekan Onabanjo tells us more.
The Nigerian aviation sector, despite having lots of potential, is grappling with several challenges that underscore the urgent need for a new policy direction. Among these are undue government interference, inadequate safety, security, and surveillance equipment, which are crucial for ensuring the smooth and secure operation of flights.
The aviation sector needs a lot of money. It's a highly capital-intensive sector. From the airports to the airline, the aviation sector needs money. So it was disheartening when the aviation sector was put among those who the federal government was deducting 50% from their IGR, it now means that the the sector will not grow.
The high forex, the non-availability of the forex, the high cost of aviation fuel and petrol. Because we both use the aviation fuel, we also use petrol for other vehicles and other machineries in the airport. The diesel itself, the general inflation, and the insecurity. All these are also affecting the industry in its entirety.
The sector also suffers from a lack of collaboration and financing options, making it difficult for airlines and airport operators to invest in necessary infrastructure and improve its operations.
Collaboration will mean getting all the components together to perform the jobs they were meant to do in an agreeable manner. An agreeable will mean they must adhere to standards, and each one knowing that its segment is important to the overall success of the aviation industry.
These issues highlight the need for a comprehensive policy framework that can support the sustainable growth of the industry.
I would say give concession when rebates to the air transport sector, mostly for airport development. If you want to achieve full infrastructure growth, you must do that.
I think that we should focus on the non-aeronautical revenue generation stream for us to be able to maximize the benefit of the airport.
Why don't airlines seamlessly come together? For every flight going from Lagos to Benin, if there are 2 flights, let them be able to meet and schedule themselves. Among other things, airlines also could put resources together and do common user kiosk at the airport.
The Nigerian aviation industry, while burdened by significant challenges, remains ripe with potential for growth and development. To unlock this potential, it is crucial to adopt a strategic approach that includes policy reforms, increased collaboration among stakeholders, and innovative strategies aimed at enhancing the economic viability of the aviation value chain in Nigeria. From Lagos for News Central, I am Lekon Onobanjo.
And that's all the news this hour. But before we go, let's take another look at some of the major stories. 20 kidnapped medical students from the University of Maiduguri regained freedom. Police confirm arrest of anonymous whistleblower. And in Tanzania, outrageous gang rape case. That's all the news this hour. Remember now, you can send your eyewitness report to WhatsApp number on your screen. Do follow us on social media. We are at News Central TV. You can watch News Central live on DSTV channel 422, Star Times channel 274, Able TV, and on YouTube.